Hello, community of grace. This is Gerard Laurie offering a Wednesday reflection video, kind of focusing and thinking back on the Easter story, particularly Mary's role in the Easter story according to John, and the women in general in the other Gospels. But in John, it's just Mary who goes to the tomb first. Um, I'm always fascinated when I think about how important Mary's role was, that she is truly the first to hear the good news, to see the good news and to hear the good news, and the first to go and share and tell others of the good news. What's fascinating is how we historically have treated the role of women in the church. And I do say we. I think too often, particularly we in the Presbyterian Church, we look at other churches who have not made, let's just say, the advancements in female participation in the leadership roles of the church. And we think about how they're restricted to the Relief Society or to maybe lower tiers of leadership. But it was not that long ago that we in the Presbyterian Church had the same and similar restrictions. It took a while for us to get to the point where we allowed women to be deacons, because our rationale was that women can certainly do care and compassion. Why not? If somebody's sick, who best to bring a casserole than the women in the church? And so let's let them be deacons. And it took many more years after that for women to be ordained as elders, and many more years after that for women to be allowed to be pastors, teaching elders, ministers of word and sacrament in the PCUSA. So let's not pat ourselves on the back thinking that we have progressed so far, that we do not have those same issues in our recent past as some of these other churches that do not allow women to have prominent leadership roles. But again, when I think about Mary and her role, I also think about the Marys in my life. Those women in particular who have been there for me in times of distress, and those women, again in particular, who were instrumental in helping me understand the good news. I shared a bit, or I mentioned the name of one during the sermon, Reverend Amy Wallace Buchanan, who died recently, and she was very instrumental as a mentor to me, and really kind of pulling me into the leadership role in the PCUSA. And I really credit her and her husband Bill for me doing what I'm doing now, being a pastor. But I also think about my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law and I probably have that traditional, maybe even stereotypical mother-in-law, son-in-law relationship. We love each other. I do love my mother-in-law dearly. But, love starts to feel a bit overwhelming if we are around each other for too long, shall I say. But one time in particular, I remember that when Molly was pregnant with Kendall, or actually who we found out was Kendall, but Molly was pregnant, and we went to the doctor. And the doctor, after some significant bleeding, told us that they could not find a heartbeat. And my mother-in-law just happened to be in town, and she came with us to the doctor's visit. And she was in the room when we got the news that there was no heartbeat. And at that moment, of course, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't say anything, but hold Molly's hand, and we both kind of cried together. And I didn't know what to say, but I felt like something needed to be said. And my mother-in-law stepped up and prayed for us. She was there for us in our time. She was Mary, leaving the graveyard, maybe hurting herself, but still going into the brokenness of the disciples to share the good news. And that's who my mother-in-law was for me. So I invite you now to kind of share with me, who are those Marys in your lives? Those women who were instrumental in you becoming who you are, praying for you, caring for you, and nurturing you. God bless.